Here come toddlers. Busy, curious, observant, reflective. We'll add more descriptive words later in the video because there's a lot to say about children who are between the ages of 1.5 to 3. Erik Erikson described the central task of being a toddler as that of developing autonomy. That is, the ability to establish oneself as a person separate from others, capable of making decisions which are sometimes, but not always, supported by adults. Dr. T. Barry Brazelton calls it developing personhood, as each toddler becomes an individual with a unique personality. Certainly one of the most obvious things about toddlers is that they're up on 2 legs and moving, and one of the places they and their adult companions are moving to is the library. In this video, we'll look first at some additional characteristics of toddlers that make planning for them both interesting and challenging. Next, we'll look at the components of an effective program for toddlers at the library. Finally, we'll discuss our goal of creating a climate of literacy and learning that infuses the joyful mix of stories, songs, books, and language games beyond the library into the lives of toddlers at home and in early care and learning programs. First, as we describe toddlers, we have to say there are wide variations in sizes and abilities. At 19 months, this young toddler has many characteristics reminiscent of babyhood, which are perfectly appropriate for his age. But we see big differences when we look at a 3-year-old. Toddlers are interested in almost everything, but perhaps especially in things they can touch and manipulate. They are tiny scientists, interested in sensory exploration. They love to explore materials like sand and water, which may be challenging, but are possible to include in a library setting.
Look, 1, 2, 3, look at me.
They are interested in almost any object they can use to reflect everyday experiences in their play.
Here we go. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies.
They delight in the rhymes and rhythms of language and are beginning to see that it's fun to participate in activities with other people. Their interest in books will depend on the availability of appropriate books and adults who understand the ways in which toddlers use them. As adults who live with toddlers know so well, they are mastering physical skills and engaging in physical activities at a rate that makes many adults feel just plain tired. It may be a misnomer to say that toddlers need hands-on activities. It's more like bodies-on, as we see when Dennis tackles the self-imposed task of dragging a large stuffed animal across the library floor. And it may also be slightly inaccurate to say that toddlers have short attention spans. It's more accurate to say they are unpredictable, sometimes staying with a chosen activity for a surprisingly long time, and at other times leaving almost before they're started. As we watch Christian, we might say that his attention to each toy or piece of equipment is brief. But if we describe what he does as exploring the play environment, we can see that his attention is directed and purposeful. Perhaps one of the major struggles in toddlerhood centers around children's attempts to gain control of their emotions, particularly during their often primitive attempts to relate to other children. Joel tries hard to make an appropriate overture to another child, then tries again, and finally pushes everything off the table in seeming frustration. Another toddler might bite, hit, or kick under similar circumstances or in another situation. Jasper bites his sister Aiden after an exciting game of peekaboo, and their mother intervenes, saying firmly, "No biting." Sometimes a toddler tries really hard to express herself, but words fail. Frustration becomes overwhelming, and a meltdown ensues. This is tough on children and parents, but Emma's mom demonstrates sympathy, understanding, and patience as she waits for the storm to pass.
Getting a break, getting a little frustrated.
Toddlers are learning to love language by playing with it, singing, making up nonsense words, and experimenting with what works and doesn't work in communication. Adults who have never been exposed to the literacy resources now available for very young children may be delighted to discover them in the company of their toddlers. As Kathleen Deere, coordinator of the Family Place Library Initiative, has said, "We know that a child's brain develops rapidly during the first few years of life. This development lays the foundation for future success in school and life. If lifelong learning is the major mission of public libraries, then libraries have the responsibility and obligation to provide engaging, developmentally appropriate environments and programs to facilitate the learning experiences of very young children and the adults who care for them." In this brief overview, we have discussed some of the characteristics of very young children, but toddlers are complicated, and this overview is meant to be suggestive, not inclusive. Each child is a unique individual with a temperament that is all his or her own. Planning to meet the needs and interests of a group of toddlers is a real challenge. Of course, toddlers take pleasure in the books to be found in the library, but in addition to books, spaces to play with carefully selected toys and other learning materials, and programs specially designed for toddlers are now to be found in many libraries. As we watch a group of toddlers and their adult companions enjoy a library program, let's consider some of the components that make this program effective. Small groups. The librarian limits the group to a small number, 10 to 15 children at most, and the adults who brought them to the library. Each child must come with his or her own lap to sit on, although sometimes a lap has to be shared between two children. The adults participate actively, not only in the group activity, but in the free play of the children. Different styles of participation and the different temperaments of toddlers are evident. These experienced librarians calmly accept the variety of ways toddlers participate in programs. The available toys are carefully selected for the age group, and there are enough of them for each child to play comfortably. The adults create and maintain an atmosphere of cheerful acceptance and encouragement.
What's this? It is fruit. Very. Guess who? What do you say? Pika. What do you say? Peekaboo. Can you do peekaboo?
Organized group activities are very brief. Plenty of time is planned for children to play freely with other children, the toys, and the adults. Books, stories, and songs are woven into playtime. Children have the full support and attention of their adult companions. Adults wait until after the program is over to chat with each other.
Can you reach? Good job.
The emphasis is on having fun together. Learning to share will come later, when children are a little older and more familiar with the toys. At that point, adults can help them discover that taking turns with toys can increase the pleasure of play. Everyone participates in cleanup. A yucky bucket is available for toys that require washing and sanitizing. But young children are not always easy to live with. Long days spent caring for them can make adults wish for contact with other adults. The library can become a place to meet, provide mutual support, gain new information, and enjoy activities which can be replicated at home.
Meeting new parents.
Yes, definitely meeting new parents.
A lot of stuff I didn't know, which helped me. Me and my husband didn't know half of the stuff, so a lot of the stuff, it helps. And when I get in questions, sometimes I come and ask when I come here.
Of course, not all visits to the library are to attend group programs, and Dennis and his grandmother spend part of almost every day at the library. Dennis makes good use of the space, running and moving about rapidly, but he also enjoys the manipulative toys and sharing books with his grandmother. Books, songs, and language games that have been demonstrated or discovered at the library are rich resources to use with toddlers at home or in early care and learning programs. Simon loves a book about Elmo, which is an adaptation of the game Simon Says. Tanisha is 2, and her teacher helps her extend a book about farm animals into play with blocks. Tanisha reveals her experience with blocks when she neatly returns them to the appropriate stacks on the shelves. And at 3, Emma is ready for a dramatic and active reenactment of We're Going on a Bear Hunt.
Oh no, Simon!
2 big googly eyes.
What is it?
So we can see that language experiences increase in complexity and depth as toddlers get a little bit older, have more experience with books and stories, and as adults help them extend their imaginative play. The emergence of the ability to pretend is important because it indicates that toddlers are beginning to understand the use of symbols, that one object can stand for or symbolize another. For instance, you can pretend that a block is a loaf of bread, or that a play cow can symbolize a real one and be used in block play about farms. This is the beginning step toward understanding that print is a set of symbols carrying meaning and is an emerging literacy skill. Pretending, often referred to as dramatic play, is also a great way to build confidence in your own ideas, to develop interest in the ideas of other people, and to develop social and physical skills.
Mommy, happy birthday to Mommy. Happy birthday to you. Simon, help blow out the candle and Emma blow out one. Make a wish.
Libraries can truly become centers for learning for all ages. In summary, brain development is zipping along. Every experience greases the neurons and connects the dots. Toddlers are struggling to express themselves with words.
You make me happy. Whose eyes are? You'll never know how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine. Yes.
they are developing physical skills at an amazing rate. While their intentions toward others are generally positive, they need a great deal of help in becoming socially adept. They are learning to love books, songs, and language play, and they are learning to use language to communicate opinions and interests and to engage in play. But we need to see that all their learning is integrated. We can't separate social from cognitive, from physical, from language. It's all one messy, wonderful, and complicated whole. Each aspect of development is intertwined with every other. Most amazing are the heroic efforts toddlers put into learning as they try and fail and try yet again. Many of the simple, everyday, and pleasant experiences we provide may appear to toddlers to be exciting and challenging, even difficult or scary. We can trust them to participate at their own pace and in their own individual and unique ways. And toddlers can trust us to respect and support them as curious, energetic, and courageous learners.
Yeah.